Namaste. How's it going? I film my personal practice to document the experiences as they happen. The reason being is every time I practice, although I'm doing the same techniques, something new is happening, something new is dawning upon me. And then I wanted to share those precious moments because they could easily go away. Yeah? So by allowing it to happen spontaneously and document it at the same time, then I can revisit. Yeah? And that's how I grow my teachings. Yeah? I would feel a certain experience or sensation, I will explore it. And then from there, I will realize its connection to the past and how it brings me forth to the future. So today is nothing different. All right. Wolf flows, back bends, hip openers, and mudras. All right. So if you have like a gritty blanket, this is like a knitted one. Find kneeling on this grittier one more stable. So when I do my back bends using this, I could feel and draw more space out of my foundation. Otherwise, you can just practice flat on your mat. Shall we start? In downward facing dog, please. Good. Head is low, hips are high. And then here you can lightly dangle to a bit of a side to side. And start to lift one leg up and let that leg hang. And you can rub the tongue around the mouth, applying that lesson I've shared with you about how the tongue, when we move it distinctively inside the mouth, can gain access to the inner pockets of the hips and the shoulders and the core and even the brain. All right, and easy notching in place. All right, we're threading the right knee through between the hands. Good. And we're just rubbing a hip. Thigh to thigh, hip to hip. Good. And then easy on your elbows. And stay. Good. Breathing so mindfully, you can feel the 4 stages of the breath, as I've mentioned in the past. Inhaling. A mild stop at the top of the breath. Exhale. And a gentle pause at the bottom. All right, so just keep breathing. Through the nose. Through the nose. Good. All right, inhale as you lift. All right, pressing down and then push away to downward dog. Okay, and then do the alternate leg lift. Especially that right hip probably would need to go up and down a few times to decompress from that sitting. Okay, now from here, marching in place. The left foot steps up between the hands. You can even use your blanket like the hurdle. Some more strength. And then drop the right knee down. Okay. This time we're lifting to your low lunge with a component of extension. All right. You can just lift to the vertical, or you can rub in and out to a coiling motion, and then using the grit of the blanket to move internally and lifting up, breathing in. I feel like open already. I can progress this already to the fingertips on the floor. Otherwise, just keep waving up and down with the shoulders. Or the hands to the heel position. Okay, you can lift that hip so you can adjust in and out and open and lift backwards. Good. And then lifting up. And dropping down. All right, pick up that back foot and then lunge it back. You can lightly shift forward and back there. Okay, and then the hand corresponding that right leg, pressing, and then windmill across, hand down and lifting that right leg again. Bend and stretch that knee. Okay, and this foot steps up. We're going straight to the Hanumanasana. Okay, and then inching that foot, and then the back leg, and in and out of the hip, right and left, right and left. All right, you can glide longer to the front of your mat, and then draw forward and upwards. Yeah, don't be too caught up with your hips square. Feel it more. Although hip squaring is ideal for, of course, the proper alignment of the hips, but sometimes we need to get out of alignment so we can achieve internal alignment. Okay, so that's one principle just spontaneously entered my brain. All right, and then up, right, and then free both legs to the front. And then from there, find your way to the floor behind you. Okay. You can just rub a little bit to the middle of your blanket if you're using one, crossing the arms behind the head, and falling from hip to hip, side to side twist. Inhale left, exhale fall, inhale up, exhale down. All right, and then start to swing the legs around, initiating now the opening of the upper back and the mid back. You can rub that leg a few times. If you follow my classes, probably you're not wondering why I rub the tongue around the mouth too often. Yeah, do that. Yeah, it helps you open a little bit more internally and fanning side to side. Good. Good. And I'll do my Dhanurasana right away. All right, reaching, placing the hands beside the ears. Exhaling, breathing in, pushing up, and exhaling, walking those knees and feet to the midline. And here you can adjust, you can even loosen the hands. All right, beautiful. Yeah, since we've done the back bend on the right hip, you may probably feel your right hip is more open, but don't worry, we're going to balance our sides in the next sequence. And then breathe. All right, inhaling. All right, head down, knees narrow, and then tuck the head or uncurl the arms, uncurl the head, and then come back to your knees and circle around. And breathe. And easy. Inhale as you hug the knees close to you. Exhale as you move away. And a few side-to-side swings, yeah, to counter the arching of the spine. All right. And then from there, just flipping over. Okay, so bending that knee closest to me and the other one long. And then circle around that extended leg. And then moving to the opposite direction. And then side to side and around. Okay. Okay, and this arm corresponding, that back leg opens up. So this sequence is quite spontaneous actually. I feel it by the ear. I know the elements to practice. Yeah, but the transitions between them, yeah, they're all, I say, happen without planning. And then down, and then change, other one. I even didn't plan for the Dhanurasana, but I sense that, why not? Yeah? Okay, and then from there, bend the other knee to the side, straighten the opposite side away from the hip and shoulder. You can lightly crawl away from the creases of the hip and the shoulder while you're circling that leg around. And settle. All right, opening the shoulder, flipping over, And stretching, yeah, you can bend the knees now. You can even lift the hips and then move it to a sway away from the collarbone. All right, and then back, the other shoulder. And the blanket may also support you. That lesson about how we can utilize the blanket and creating more space and support while we do this shoulder stretching. Beautiful. All right, down to the chest and circling around the hips and lifting to a bit of a side to side. All right, from there, hands down, pushing away Adho Mukha Svanasana and alternate the legs. Feels good there. Lifting and stretching and matching. All right, it's the left foot stepping up to the front, or the left knee, left knee down, and then threading and gliding. All right, and down to the shoulder. Good. And breathe. Breathing in, exhaling out. One more, inhaling, exhaling. All right, hand press away, backwards. Okay. Downward dog, and let's do alternate leg lift. Okay, and then over that right shoulder, and then the hand down, and the right leg goes high to three-legged dog with a bend and stretch knee. All right, and stepping this foot forward all the way through. Good, and the left knee falls, and rubbing in and out of the hip. All right, and then pick it up. Inhale. Every time you loosen, exhale. Inhale, lift high, reaching tall, and falling, or just keep lifting up and backwards. Or hands. Breathe. You can rub the neck a little bit away from the collarbone. You can lift and then drop. You can lift this knee too. So you can adjust more vertical and then stay. Probably no hands. And up. Ooh. All right, hands down. All right. And then work your way back. And then do a side press. Inhaling. Exhaling. And this left leg goes high. You can bend and stretch the knee. And prepare for this foot stepping up all the way forward. And we do the splits. Rubbing from hip to hip and forward and backwards. Right and left. Left and right. Okay, now can we try now? The left, nice and tall, to the vertical Hanumanasana. What's good about with the cushion? You can use the space it brings when you rub, to support your body. Lifting and rising. All right, release. Feels good. Come on. Bring your legs to the front of your body and roll on your back and up and down. Sweet. All right, side to side. Feels open right there. And just move that thigh bone around in circular motion. And a few side to side twist. Hey, Dhanurasana number 2. More open, more spacious. Probably you can inch your feet a little closer to the midline.
and left. And here your arm bones are lightly turned out. Yeah. But not overdoing it. Just to bring your shoulder blades under the spine so you can lift a little bit without compressing your spine. And breathe. All right, inhaling and exhale, and then release the neck, and then roll down with the knees turning inward. Okay, and move them around. Good. Yeah, ready now for some deeper extension. But first, let's fan to a bit of a side to side. And change. All right, well done. Up to sitting. And then flipping over. Oh, I feel like doing this. Yeah. See? Okay. Turn this knee around and then on your stomach. So we're just repeating the sequence. And then breathe. And the other side. Okay, and we push away to a mild extension. You can rock forward and back, shoulder to shoulder. All right, and downward facing dog. Alternate leg lift. Ready? Yeah. 3 main ones. First is the Ustrasana. Breathe up. Loosen the neck if you need. Yeah. Walking the knees to the middle. Okay, and just stay. Well, I adjust for my necks. You can just stay in the Kaput or Ustrasana, and then releasing to downward dog and float to alternate 3-legged dog. Yeah, and then do another round of the Ustrasana. Otherwise, if you're joining me, you can rub around here, because we're progressing deep into our extension. And I'm using the grit of the blanket to keep my thighs and my hips steady. In and out, then waving, push down, draw in, hang loose to the back, and dangle over the shoulders. All right, good. Hang loose. Your foundation is strong. Don't strain the shoulders. Good. Can you see your toes already? Why not? Pull in and reaching for the heels. First try is always the most difficult. But the other ones, after this, you will just go light and open. Breathe. All right. Final. And inhale. And touching the elbows down the ground. And stay. 5, 4, 3, and 1. Press up. Right and up. Ooh. Good. The first one is always the most challenging, but also the most meaningful. Yeah, because like you've broken free from the hurdle, the initial hurdle, and then the next few ones
will be lighter and more open. All right, so should I alternate? After one deep back bend, I find it organic to do this transition. I don't know about you, but it feels relaxing. And the front leg steps up, and then the other knee drops. Okay. The three main back bends: Ustrasana, Kapotasana. You can just repeat the Anjaneyasana, or you can place your hands behind you, or call this one up and back. Let's see, I'm using the grit of my blanket to draw more space out of the hip. And open. And breathing, readjusting so that leg is not turning out too much. Adjusting that knee to the midline, and at the same time lifting up and backwards. All right. Happy hips, and down and breathe. Okay, inhaling and up. And marching in place. Now circle around and a bit of the side to side. Okay, swinging the biceps. Kapotasana. You're strong. You're resilient. You've done the first set. This will just be more of a surrendering. Again, in back bending, I don't encourage you squeezing. It's really drawing in and up. No squeezing of the buttocks, no squeezing of the shoulders. And you can see I'm dangling so loosely, coiling in and out. Then you may lightly press through the fingertips so you can draw more space in front and in backwards. And finally, reach and open. Good. And falling. All right, up and up. Good. And knees adjust and wave around. And that's halfway through the hurdles of the back bend. And let's break the flow by doing a downward dog and alternate the leg lift. All right, feels good. All right, and then this back foot, the right steps up, and the other knee down. Stepping up after a back bend is quite challenging because the back is contracting and the front is opening. So you can just kneel and step up if you need. I'll approach this one from that leg open. I'm rearranging the side of me using my tongue. Like I draw everything from the midline, away from the midline, and back to the midline.
That's what I realized in backbending. Like you need to move your extremities away from the midline first so the spine can open. And then from there, move everything back to the midline, but under the spine. Yeah, interesting backbend. All right, so the spine is the only remaining piece of you pointing up. Everything is either pressing down or scooping under the body. Two, one, and up. I'm not pressing anymore, and just continue its ascent. Ooh, hip flexors inside. And easy wave around. All right, so back bend. Again, another spontaneous realization as I practice. Like the tongue, what I do is I move the extremities away from the midline and then back to the midline. But as they come back, they go under the spine. And that gives me more support in lifting myself up. Yeah, makes sense, right? First, move everything, trapping the spine away from the spine so I can open. And then bring them back into the midline, but under the body with your foundation pushing down. So the spine is free. All right, wave around. Okay. And I'll do 2 Kapotasana back to back. And here I'm digging my tongue behind my bottom gum, down the bottom lip, bottom teeth, behind the bottom teeth, so I can draw a little bit more space here, up. Yeah, more foundational support, down, and reach. And wave, bring back to the midline, but under the spine. And to the floor. And up, and all the way up, and come back. Knees. Wave around. Swing the biceps. Or for this one, I'll try and do it flat on the ground. Flat on the mat. Easy. Dangle. And here, I can now adjust my knees closer to the midline more. Okay. In that way, I prevent my hips from scooping under, and I use pure strength and not mere flexibility. And up. Loosen a bit. And back to your kneeling. Feels good. And wave around. Good. And rubbing the biceps. And down to your downward dog. Alternate the legs. Right. Okay. Hip openers, mudra practice, yeah, all in one. I'm trying to cut down the time I spend in the asana and just do the essentials for me. There are days that I do a long practice. But most of the day, I just do those important ones. I might be inspired doing another technique here or two, but yeah, those three important back bends, well, for me, and this one, the variation of the Gorakshasana, the Bhadrasana, essentials, or well, for me, those are like my staple ones, because without them, I feel after, for example, I miss a practice a day or two, I could feel my hips drop and the pressure may end up in my low back, but these positions freeze those inner hip joints, the stagnation, the Mandukasana, frog, and then down, and then few rubbing around in circles. When I do my self-practice, once I reach this point, I see, wow, it's almost there. It's about to finish. Although it's not going to be easy. It's like you're halfway done. And up and back. And alternate the legs. You can also inch your fingertips forward. Okay, back to floor, round 2. Okay. If you're working on this, you might probably start with the Mula Bandhasana, this one. All right, but for me, I find it quite restricting because I could feel my hips can move and I restrict my hips from moving, and that's actually more counterproductive for me, so I keep flipping over my ankles. And then there's no pain here. I don't recommend you doing this without the preparation. A requirement for this one is, of course, the Kapotasana, to keep the spine open away from the low back, and the Kandasana. Although I'm doing Kandasana towards the finish, that's a preparatory for this one to happen. All right, and down the floor. Yeah, Mandukasana, and release. All the way down and around. Like this huge heaviness lifted off my hips. And change. You can lift hip to hip. And around in circles. Okay, push away. And to the back. You alternate legs. And just cross forward and sit. Okay, and then roll on the back. And up and down. Okay, reclining, side stretching, coupled with a deep hip opener and the Viparita Karani Mudra. And you can rub the tongue around the mouth. Okay, let's do a deep side stretch with one arm, one leg, and you can move and rub the spare leg up. Okay, and reverse. You can lightly hang. Like the
Parigasana, but I want to do it lying down so I can further adjust slightly while I'm dangling. Feels good, that one. All right, and fanning side to side. Good. Supta Kandasana. All right, and then here, I wanted to open laterals at the same time, drawing in, and up, and the other side towards the midline. That's the breath. In and up. I'm gaining access to the inner body already. Yeah. So the external structure is just a way for me to bind the extremities, and I'm using them to collect to the midline and up. That's the essence of mudras, and up and down. Okay, and whatever you collected from the extremities, from the side to the midline, you send to the brain and the higher centers. Okay. Just make sure there's no rounding of the back. And you're lifting. And here, like you're blurring your eyes behind your eyelids, or can lightly gaze and find the dark spot between your eyebrows, while pressing the tongue against the hard palate and breathing Dojai. Magnetizing the brain, and then channelizing the energy from the extremities, draining our lymphatic system to the brain. All right, so feels relaxing, that one. Over the legs, over the head. I couple this with the halasana. Again, so this is a sensitive practice. Please approach this with care. At no point you should feel neck compression or pain in the upper spine. The lower belly keeps pulling in, and that supports the weight away from the upper body. All right, and then this end, keeping your hips hugging, so you descend as one unit. Feel like, and then fanning side to side, and this rush of electricity crawling up the brain and the higher centers of the body, and then back to the hips. So that's how I feel it. All right, and I'm out, up and down, rocking. If it's you, rock this one up to sitting, and then do a downward dog. Lifting and stretching, kicking and bending the knee a few times before changing. Good, and then sit forward. You can glide through and then sit. Okay, sitting Kandasana. Although I do this almost every day for many years, it's never easy, I tell you. It's never easy. Well, the first try was, I would say, the most difficult. But succeeding my first attempt, until now, it's never easy. It's just that you experience more realizations, learnings, and ways of doing it. Now, to address the challenges. For example, here, see, I'm trying to lift away from the hip so I can draw in the heaviness out of that low back, and at the same time, engaging the Plavini and irrigating the Shadishana chakra, because this is predominantly working on the three bottom chakras, lower chakras. The Muladhara, of course, the Shadishana being the most potent here, the Sakralamba and the organs of reproduction, and the lower core, the lower center of the Manipura. And I'll do a short round of Kachari inside the tongue, inside the mouth. Kachari being it irrigates whatever blockage is clogging the higher meridians or the higher chakras. All right, untangle. And then the neck is open. This is open because of the Kachari. And the hips are more open. The energy is more confined into the midline. Well, that's how I feel it. And lifting the up and up from the hips to the higher centers. But of course, nothing can match the power of the breath. But combining this with the breath, you can just imagine how potent the practice could become. All right, reaching over the head. What just happened there? I sealed the pressure to my Manipura and breathe Uddiyana Bandha wide, and then the energy goes up. And a bit of a side. It's not retention of the breath. I'm still breathing while I'm confining the chunk of the breath into the core. It's like breathing over the kumbhaka, or the seal. Okay, up and down. Good. And at last, at this stage, my brain is experiencing this, not swaying, but a very calm and clear atmosphere, sensation, disposition. The sense of happiness and content, because you've accomplished another day. You've given an hour of your day for yourself, for your practice, for your well-being, for your health, and that's meaningful. So you can bring and give the remaining day ahead for the many things surrounding your life. It's not selfish. What is 1 hour? If we can allot and share many hours of our day to others, with others. Huh? Fair enough? And as a teacher, that's me. And even if I practice, I think of my students because I need to grow my practice and learn more for me to share meaningful and safe lessons to my students. Yeah. Alternate legs. Learning through practice. And nothing can match that. Not even memorizing thousands and thousands of pages of yoga texts. But if you have the time to learn, theoretically, aside from your practice, you're lucky. But someone has to work, so to speak. Done. How powerful and how straightforward that practice is. And rubbing the breath against the walls of the throats. And before I finish, chanting the Om. And a last. And let the breath come back to its natural rhythm. You can rub the tongue around the mouth, or you're magnetizing your optic nerves to the forehead. Good. And we can open the eyes now. Sending the breath to the chest. Keep breathing across. Exhale back to the chest. Keep exhaling down to the hips. And find your rhythm. Breathing in. Sharing the Prana Mudra. Peace. The Shanti. One more. Like you're opening your hearts. And then back. Beautiful. All right. Next time, just reach them to circle. And exhale. And breathing in. Breathing out. One more. All the way up. Hands together. And then to the heart. Namaste. 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 Thank you. Good. The chanting part and the Prana Mudra and the Shanti Mudra, they happen spontaneously. I didn't plan for it, but I feel it's nourishing. And it's a good practice on its own, separate from the other techniques we had today. Body, breath, brain, and the heart, the spirit. I'll see you in the next one. Have a lovely day. Yeah, namaste.